Welcome to the archive, where we explore the stories of artists.
I don't want to, like, that's not me, And I think I should be allowed to be able to just be myself in a space.
Are you saying right now you in the season where you're smelling the roses?
There's no time to smell the roses.
Unpack their journeys and shine a light on their art. Today we have an incredible filmmaker, writer, director, and co-founder of Umphakathi Artists. He's a very dear friend to me and someone I look up to and someone who inspires me on a daily basis. So it's so incredibly honorable that he was able to make time to be with us today. Hello, Ntokozo Mlaba.
Hi, Ho.
How are you? I'm good. So here at the archive, we love to identify as the home of African artists and entertainers. And when you're at home, you don't really have to over-explain the Wi-Fi password connects. So this is your home, and we want to know as archive, who is Ntokozo and what do you stand for?
Damn, first question. Pretty tough.
Is it a tough question?
Like Zulu.
Oh, okay, you can share that.
Just
Okay, cool.
no. Yeah. Who in Ntokozo?
Um, and also trying to iron that out, bro. Like, shit. I was just thinking now when you asked me how I am, but how I said I'm good, without actually thinking about how I am. And I just thought about how we're conditioned to just respond to things without really thinking about it. And I think where I am right now, I'm at a point where I'm trying to spend time with myself and trying to engage with those kind of questions, like how am I, like really, I mean, like without just like answering, without going deep into how I'm feeling, why I'm feeling, what I'm feeling, etc., etc. And so, yeah, I guess the reason why a question is even shouldn't be as challenging as it is because I think we're constantly evolving. You kind of feel like you have a grasp on yourself, and like a few months later, like you're totally different. You feel different. You have different aspirations, or your goals have broadened. You've seen different things and stuff. So yeah, man, I'm trying to find that. I'm trying to find it really, and yeah, that's where I am. But yeah, I was a child of God. He's his mother's child, and yeah, um, she's trying to find himself every day. Every day, she's trying to find myself. Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful place to be. You are in this place where you feel like you just have to go into solitude and figure out who this person is. I've been there. I took a few months away from humanity and I had to ask those questions about who Hope is, what does she stand for, what are her principles, what is she here for, and I think that's a beautiful place to be in. Especially for you, I think you have accomplished a lot at a very young age. You just come back from the Locarno Film Festival in Switzerland. You haven't had a very great year in terms of what you've been able to do, the People's Bioscope, you just wrapped your film. So I feel like you've been giving and giving and giving. And I think for me, I would describe you as a giver. I think you're somebody that takes their gifts and offers them willingly to the world. So now you're in a season where you have to recoup.
Yeah. I think I'd like it to be for me, for like that to be my lifestyle. So like I don't want to recruit. I don't want to like give myself completely, and then like when I'm like cheated, and then only then do I recharge. I want to be that guy who's able to manage the points of giving and recharging, giving and recharging. You know, because I think like when you take too long to almost recharge, as it takes, when it takes too long to recharge, it takes a longer time for you to be good again. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Yeah, like a phone battery basically. Like if you don't charge it when it's like at 50 or 80%, and you only charge it when it's like at 1% or it's dead. It's gonna take a longer time, basically. Yeah. So I think for me, I'm trying to just kind of cultivate a life where I build in the structure that enable me to recoup in the moment. You know what I mean? Because I think even though these days are so fulfilling and they're like, you know, they're not even work, you know, in a sense, you know, when you think about like this is like a,
This is who you are.
you know, yeah,
It's a dream.
but so like I'm living and you know I'm breathing, and sometimes it's like sure I right time we go. And so yeah, I think for me it's just like trying to figure that out really, you know, because like you're saying, things really panned out fairly well this year, and I'm extremely grateful for that. And I think it's the years of just really sowing and planting these seeds, and now they're beginning to germinate in their different in their different capacities. And I think for me it's like okay, cool, because another thing is like it never ends, right? The sowing and the trying to, because okay, cool, and then what? You know, you got that.
You're planting, and then there's the next stage. But so are you saying right now you in the season where you're smelling the roses?
I don't think so, because man, it's actually so tricky. I was with my homie yesterday, and we were working on our score, and like honestly, that we were like really enjoying the process. And we're like, I was like to them, man, I really love art so much. I love the process of creating, right? And I wish they exist in the world that didn't had to exist in this world, like where you kind of had to make a living out of this thing. I feel like the biggest scam, you know, like, you know, and that's because that really takes you out of
The creativity and the enjoyment, because my rent is due at the end of the month.
it really sucks. So it's like when you say, "Are you smelling the road?" Like, oh, no time. Even there's no time. Like if you contextualize it really, there's no time to smell the roses, because like there's like if you contextualize it with the grander scheme of thing, like you're like these aren't roses. Like they might be a petal, but like if you think about it, like in the grander scheme of like life and having to exist like in the world as it
As a human and not a creative.
yeah, you know, and I guess yeah, it's those things. And I mean, I'm not trying to steal my own joy, but it's like I always try to bring myself to earth and understand that, you know, um, life is not a product of the highest, you know, and we can lie to ourselves and like and put on our bio the highlights of our moments in the world, I guess, so things that really decorate us, you know. But the reality is that the lows also exist, you know, and I think it's about how do you manage the two, and also like
Have balance.
yeah.
Do you know what you're saying is so interesting for me? Because I think, like what you're saying, when we look at people that we look up to and people that we want to become like on Instagram and wherever, and they winning these awards and they have credibility, we don't know the lows, you know, and we don't know what it actually takes on a daily for them in order for them to live that life. Because like you're saying, we're only showing the highlights, the reels. Oh, Ntokozo, when we're chilling, we're not showing when we're arguing. We're not showing when the business is like almost in debt, but they're inviting you to an event and you have to show face because the business is in. So it's just like the cost that comes with the greatness. But I don't want the cost to take away the greatness.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, like about understanding that the true structure that is just like the art, and there's the art and the process, right? And then there's the world in which the art exists. And for me, I don't want to exist in the world in which the art exists. I just want to exist in the process.
In the process of the art.
In the process of the art. And I understand that you kind of have to, like, you have to exist in the process. You have to just
In the world.
right? But I think for me also, we're creators, and you create your own life, and you create your own norm. And I think we've normalized things that we should never have normalized in this industry.
Like,
Like being real, bro. Like being real, bro. Like it's hard, and everybody knows this.
to be real.
No, it's hard to be an artist.
Okay, but it is hard. The reality is crazy.
So hard, and the craziest thing that we have to show up and
Every day.
look like we're okay, and we all
Siakoa.
yeah, and that's what I'm talking about, and I think even worst part is that we exist in a world that requires glamour, that requires this, and you have to arrive at the first and that you're not. And it's like, in fact, I don't want to, guys. Like, I don't want to, like, if I want to, like, I don't want to, like, that's not me. And I think I should be allowed to be able to just be myself in a space. And, yeah, and I guess it'll work for me. I guess for me, I'm just trying to find that. My point is like, there's just in a world where, in the pin-up industry, where, yeah, like, it's, damn, bro.
I want to know, Nem. I hear where you are, right? And I really do hear you. But I think something that is very true about you, as much as this game gets tiring, you know how to play the game. And you play it very well, you do. Because at the young age that you are at, and I look at, and it's not comparing, it's just we're taking a look at the market, right? We're taking stock of the market. You're very young and you've accomplished all of these things. And obviously it took some kind of understanding of this game. I've seen you do it, I've seen you in your element where you're in Ntokozo the entrepreneur and you rock it, dude. So I think you know how to play the game. I think you're very successful at the game. So what does that look like for you if you're saying, I don't want to play this game, I just want to be here at the creation? But do you get that there's a part of the game that allowed you to be where you are right now?
Yeah. But I mean, my thing is that I think let's give the viewers context, right?
Okay.
Because I feel like we're having a conversation about us.
Okay.
We know that we had the conversation.
Okay, cool.
And we're speaking around it.
Okay.
So the context, everyone, the context is I'm trying to move out of social media. Like, I'm trying to transition to be like, if you need me, email or take my number and text me, or SMS, because I don't want to be on WhatsApp. I don't want to be on Instagram.
You don't want to be accessible.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay, let me listen.
I don't want to have access. Yes, I don't want to have access.
You don't want people to have access to you, or you don't want to have access to people.
I don't want to have access to things, right? Like, follow me, right? Like, why? Think about it. Why is it that the guys at the highest part of our value chain don't have social media? Like, why is it that I can't find the chairman of specific companies, I don't want to name, of specific companies, why can't I find them on social media? And for me, my goal is
That's so interesting.
my goal is really to playing in those, like my trajectory where I want to be at is at really at the highest parts of this value chain of this industry. Because I don't want to make, not necessarily I don't want to make moves forever, but I don't want to have the same fight that I'm having
Every day.
every day.
So what is the fight, dude? For people that don't know, like,
So my point's like filmmaking is hard, bro. Like it's very hard, bro. Like it's like I think we don't actually grapple with the the difficulty of this thing. And I think in that difficulty, the reward is like is the process itself, right? The thing that is supposed to be fun, or the thing that is supposed to like you I don't know how to say.
you're saying that your favorite part of this whole thing is the directing, the writing, the making, the process of being a filmmaker. But the business of film is what frustrates you.
Not necessarily the business.
The social.
I think they cause this. And I think, another thing is that I think this is business as a whole. This is not just filmmaking. I think artists have a luxury of complaining on a platform, which makes their complaints seem louder, or their struggles seem more than
The average person that is working south. Okay, as
or maybe not in industry. I almost said average person, but not necessarily the average person, but a person who's not working in the creative industry, which is publicized, right? And so, for example, with that, because we live our lives in the public domain, where we, when I complain, it seems like it's a big thing, but that's, it's a drop in the ocean. But that's not to nullify my pain or my disgruntlement. But it's also to understand that there's a lot of things happening out there, and a lot of people also who have their own difficulties. And I'm blessed to even be in the position to say that filmmaking is hard because I'm in the filmmaking process. Get what I'm
you're looking at.
Yeah, but I think for me, it's like, okay, cool. I think there's certain things that have been normalized in the structure that we exist in that just don't work for me, and that should be okay, because I'm gonna make it anyway. Like I'll make it work my way, and I think that's what it is to be a creative. I think like when I went to NSA, I was so happy because I'd come from a school that was so autocratic, like that was so structured, and like I was like, yo, finally I'm gonna be one of the awkward people, I want to be one.
My people. Yes.
So when I'm at NSA, like I was like isolated. I was still like that guy, because I think the thing is we're all different, right? And even if you go to different people, you guys are different in your own way. You know what I mean? Like just because everybody here is awkward or quirky,
Doesn't mean that we're gonna all get along. So there's this dream that we sell ourselves as artists that we're all different. So we're all gonna be whole.
Yeah, but even that, my point there is that my point there is that I'm able to remove myself from what's happening and still be able to be my thing the way I want to do it. Because I think that I'm not saying I'm not going to do the networking. I'm not going to meet people. No, I am. That's why I'm still able to communicate. I just feel like I have to manage my accessibility to what everybody else is doing, because I think that also clouds my judgments and that clouds my perspective in terms of like how I approached my process. Like I want to create because I want to create. I don't want to create because Banbani is creating or this person is doing that thing.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
So I think for me, it's just really trying to manage that, and maybe not be off indefinite, but in the process where I'm able to understand, because I think also social media acts as a crutch, if you think about it, and they think they're.
How does it act as a crutch?
I mean, that's on a psychological level thing, like trying for approval, etc.
Okay.
And really, bro, this is for me, it's a very, very spiritual, delicate process, and
Yeah.
I'm almost undressing myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're very vulnerable and you're sharing yourself to the world. So now you sharing yourself to the world through your work, and also they want you in reality.
Yeah. But that's my thing. You can't differentiate. You can't you can't remove this. You can't remove yourself as the person from yourself as the creator in at how people receive you. And so that's what I'm trying to manage. Like I want to manage that process. I mean, it's my own. It's a personal thing. Also, I don't think I should be speaking about
This is good. I love that you're speaking about this because
because I need therapy.
it's okay. Don't we all need therapy,
I need
dude?
therapy. Good man, I'm going through a lot.
And I love that you are being vulnerable and speaking about these things because I think when a lot of people see you, they see this great guy, which you are incredible. You are, dude, like, and they see like this person that is accomplishing so much. Like, dude, the things that you have accomplished this year are insane. And so they don't see, like, for instance, I get the luxury to see you on a bad day. I get the luxury of seeing the stress that you can actually live with. And I think that's the part that we also play as our industry, the glamour. We're not willing to show that, hey guys, this is tough. That there is the sides that we don't want to show people that we have to live in order to become these people that one day a person looks up to you because you have created these incredible films. Because, like, dude, the things you do, your work speaks for itself. Like, I was actually thinking about that event that happened at Market Theatre, and I was like, that was so incredibly powerful because
Which one?
the before the elections with We the People. And I was just okay. Sorry. So there was an event that Umpagati Artist hosted. Umpagati Artist, he's the co-founder, and it. So Umpagati Artist does many things. They do local bioscopes. And they do events, but the whole point is to bring together people through art and the connection of humanity through the arts. Am I correct? Okay, okay. Something like, and there was an event that Mpagati artists hosted at the Market Theatre, and they collaborated with We the People. And it was speaking about it was asking the question, do we really know who we're voting for and why are we voting? And you were speaking to South Africans through this event, and you used film, music, poetry, live band in order to communicate that message. And that's why I say it's in your work. Your work speaks for itself. It's never, your work always showcases like black people being empowered. And I love that I was thinking about that event and I was like, my mind around being a patriarch and being someone that exists in this country, I feel that I now, because of you, even in my artistry, I think I've always cared about humans. I love people, but I because of you, you use your art to impact others. I then now don't see my art for myself, but I see my art as a vessel to empower other people. And you are somebody that I saw that from.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that. That show was, I really like that show. But it bombed.
Because people don't support film festivals and film screenings. Because people think film is for film people, dude.
No, I don't.
What do you think is the reason that people don't go to film festivals?
I think I think it's a lot of things, right? Um, I think it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. What we're trying to do essentially at Amharati Artists is build a community where that was a theater play, and theater is dying. We know this. What is in dying favor, but right now people are not buying tickets to go to the theater. People, even if it's just a theater for plays or a theater for the cinema, that's really dwindling. And locally, it's also about like financial capability. You know what I mean? And
People can't afford to invest in going to theater when I have to worry about my groceries.
Yeah. So, and then also there's also building communities. So, example, at our show, like as much as we bombed, like we made a loss, but the people that were there, we're building a community of the people that were there. Like, and okay, cool, these people mess with the work, and so it's like, okay, cool, how do we kind of how do we get, how do we make again? So that we can build that community again. For example, I'll make an example about a community that really inspires me. Um, the guys at Nairobi, the Nairobi community, is doing amazing work. I don't know if you know him, Will, the guy who runs the Nairobi community. They just did Kids Love Jazz,
Okay.
which was insane.
I wanted to go.
It was, it was
I had FOMO. It looked so dope. People were enjoying it.
I felt like it was, and the thing is, it was so crazy because I have a concept written out about what happened to me on that night. Like
You wrote it before it happened.
I have a series.
Okay.
It's a pilot.
Okay.
Something that happened, but like it's so dope, but it happened in Brown.
Okay.
And like it was crazy because like everything that happened,
Was like affirming your concept.
I mean, not even affirming, but I think it was just like I saw it, I guess affirming, I saw but basically back to my point. Okay, let me actually speak about the concept, right?
Okay.
Oh no, let me not speak about
No, speak about it.
No, the concept is more about like contemporary urban society within the city, right? And jazz and student living. Right?
Okay, that's interesting.
But yeah, I guess for me, what happened after
And jazz.
and jazz, so
Okay.
pretty dope, I think.
That's dope.
Yeah, pretty cool. So that night happened, and like, okay, I don't understand. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever happened afterwards happened.
What are you saying, dude? Speak clearly.
On my point about kids love jazz, it felt like, it felt like a scene from Insecure.
Yes.
So
You painting that picture in my mind right
it felt
now.
like a scene from Insecure, like that staging, that everything was, the vibe was really up. But my point about that community, that those guys have been running events for the longest time, and they've been putting underground artists or artists who don't have a platform, or they don't have influence traditional media, and giving them a platform to perform at every one of their performances. And so they've been doing this for a long time, and a lot of their stuff bombs. Like the guys told me, like, yo, dog, I just want to break even, for some of the stuff. Because it's so hard to just build. But he's built a community, and he's building a community. And now it's grown into what it's become. And like it was so massive. I was like, I can't believe corporate is not hopping onto this, because he's got young people at the palm of his hand. If he goes to I don't want to mention names, but if you go to a select company or bank or whatever, like these people should be hopping on, because he's able to touch all of these points and get people into one area,
Why should we invest in art?
as corporate or as ourselves as artists.
Let's both.
As artists, because it benefits us. If I support you, you support me, we able to eat. I think
We eat together.
yeah.
Cool.
Even outside of building scale, if all of us here, like if I have a play or if I have a theater show, I show a film. You said mentioned about how film festivals are not being supported because only filmmakers go to the film festival. I don't even think that's true. You have creative practitioners who are not going to the theater, who are not going to the cinema. People want comps to go in some. You understand? So you have the problem where even the industry itself
Doesn't support itself.
so how do you expect people from the outside to come support internally if you guys?
You guys don't support each other.
Every time I go to the theater, I'm telling you,
It's the same people.
literally
Same.
and not even same people in the sense that like it's the same, but it's the same. Like if I sit next to somebody, have a conversation with them, like, oh, what do you do? I'm an accountant.
Okay.
I'm in property. Like it really happens that I need an actual artist.
That is supporting another art field.
theater. I mean,
for me, especially with festivals, I always see the same people. And that's how like we kind of know each other because it's the same five faces at each festival. And the thing is, it's not like these things aren't marketed.
Yeah.
People know.
But go look at an open audition call. See those lines. Go see lines going. Everybody wants to be the industry, but nobody wants to support it. And it's funny because who do they expect is going to be supporting them getting better?
When they're in the
That's
industry,
what I'm saying. So it's very, you know,
it's because we want to come to this place to take. Nobody wants to come to this place to give. We just want me. I want to be a star. I don't want to be the best filmmaker instead of going outside of ourselves and saying, hey, what is this thing that I'm doing and who is it going to impact? Because I think the people that have impact in this industry are those that are able to like sacrifice their egos for the work. And sometimes the ego comes with the work, honey. But like people don't care about this place. They just want the idea of the place. Because the reality of this place is sleepless nights, it's power dynamics, it's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about. And then you look at somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to be like this person. And you're always on the wishing side of it, but you're actually not understanding that it costs something to be that person and to even like do these great things. Because like what you're saying about kids love jazz, I can't imagine how long it took for them to build a community to even believe in jazz. Because, like Brahm, especially Brahm, the hip hop niggas, So it's like that thing for you to invest. Because for me, what we're talking about right now is the investment of art. Corporate has a lot of money, a lot of money, and they could invest in this art. So why should we invest in art as corporate in Ntokozo?
as corporates, shucks. That I think um even in film, right? Like now we're having conversations about how we can get private investment into investing into films, I think the reason why corporate would cop onto something is because it benefits them at the end of the day. And so if for example, APSA comes on and does the People's Bioscope like they did earlier this year, and their brand story is Your Story Matters. They're able to touch the points they're able to hit a pointer in terms of like their market in Soweto, which is a big market, for example, but it has to be a case study because I'm speaking now from speculation. But my point is that there's different targets that corporate has that they could hit. For example, with our work, we speak to CSI of corporates, which is a portion of money that they have to spend on empowering society or empowering communities. You know what I mean? So that's on our part as a non-profit organization. If now we're speaking in terms of events or just the arts space as a whole, it's about return on investment. So why does corporate advertise? It's because it gets people to come and buy their product. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's why they spend so much money on advertising. And so that's why corporates need to get into arts, because arts has a reach.
A lot of reach to people.
Yeah. So a larger reach, for example. So now, with my example with the guy with Nairobi, with Kids Love Jazz, or just the Nairobi brand, now they've been able to prove that they're able to get this amount of people, they're able to get these numbers in, and what they need to now start getting into is even data collection. Who's buying the tickets? What ages are they? Where are they coming from? What are the demographics? So when people, for example, when you now go into a corporate, you're able to say, yo, look at the amounts of people that they're getting in. These are the demographics. This is who they bank with. And now you're showing data and you're able to sell. You know what data is sold? I don't know if you know that.
I did not know that.
For example, when you put Wi-Fi in, when you get your Wi-Fi, you put your email. That stuff is data and it's sold. So it's sold to companies to be able to sell you stuff.
Okay.
So you get
Like those random calls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yes.
People you don't know.
So
So data is lucrative. Like it's a big business. So those are the kinds of things that we need to get into as
Creatives.
creators, looking at how we can even in film, like it's advertising. If I, for example, I wear and if I get a character who wears era only, like era by DJ Eric's, then I get, okay, cool, this could drop some money for my film, because my film's gonna be watched by this amount of people, etc., etc., etc. You know what I mean? So
But you see, this is what I'm saying. You are so business orientated about your creativity as well. You're able to be creative because you're saying you love the process, you love the creation, but I think you also enjoy the business element
I
of.
love the business because I want to at least sustain myself. Because I think you can't just, that's the thing, you can't just exist in the process. You can't. Like even if you wanted to, however beautiful the process, you can't just exist there, because we don't have a business, or we don't have a society or a structure that just that comes to you. You need to find a way to get to market. You know what I mean? So for example, like even if I sold the best apple, like it doesn't matter how great the apple.
If nobody knows about it, no one's gonna come by
Or if I don't know how to get the apples
to the right stores and stuff like that.
I need to be able to understand how distribution works. I need to understand how marketing works. I need to understand these things so that the product can be sold and I can live.
And where do you learn these things? Because so many people, yes, because so many people who are filmmakers are so fixated on, I want to be a director, I want to be this, but they actually don't also see that apart from the creativity, there's the business of this thing. Because even for me, like when I was at acting school, I could see my colleagues were so fascinated by the acting, and I love acting, like I love it. But I think I was more fascinated by the way the world of acting works. Because you can be the greatest actor, but if you don't understand the way the world works, you will never be the actor that you want to be because you don't understand the system.
I think it's different for people, right? I think I actually had a conversation with an actor that I know who who said that they're comfortable just being an actor. And I think there's a beauty in that too, because I think
Okay.
processes are not the same.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Processes aren't the same. Like sometimes you just lucky, bro. Sometimes or you just come from money or whatever. But for me, where there's no handy book, especially for the local industry. You don't know where to find information about.
Exactly. You kind of just stumble upon the info as you keep going.
Tough. You don't know where to find the information. We don't even know how to, like, mentorship is so hard to get a hold of in this industry, because people, I mean, yeah, well, you were like cool, it's a, but you know what the thing is, man, my process has been one of trial and error, and I think that's just how business works anyway, where you try something, you see if it works. If it doesn't work, you move on to the next one. You try it, doesn't work. If it works, and that way, and that's how
In the process, you learn.
learn, okay, cool, this is how you do it, this is how you do it. And that's why I'm so dedicated to working in the communities that I work in, or doing the work that I do, because I understand how hard it is just to get the information that I need. And sometimes for somebody on the giving not the information end, seems like this information is so lame, and like for the person who's asking, like it's like, it's the most
It's so precious to them.
vital. So, but I guess it's just really as figuring it out, bro. That's the thing. Like we don't have a structure where you can even read up. There's not a lot of reading up on the stuff. I do is I watch podcasts. Like I watch your guys' podcast, and I watch other If I see that there's a guest who I'd love to spend time with, like just talking to that person, or I've been trying to get hold of that person just to learn from them. I've watched a podcast that they're on, But you know what I mean? That's what I used to. So I'm a very big. I really study the game. I study the player,
Say,
and yeah, that's what I try to be, because I think, but that's the unfortunate part, is that there's practicality that people know about, that they easily just say, no, why don't you try this?
and they won't tell you. And that's, I appreciate you because you're now, you tell me, you like, dude, do it like this because people will know, but they would only want to be the only ones who know.
But the thing is that my feeling that I live in a world that where I understand that there's so much abundance. Like there's so much roof, like for all of us. Like all of us like kapopa, kaufela, and rhythm not. Like nice, bro. You know what I mean? And not only in the local context, because that's what we've been sold. You know? That's what we've been sold. Like, it's okay. Bongo can be the best actor and go to Hollywood and come back and still be the best actor. Like, it's okay for there's no ceiling. We don't exist in a ceiling where we exist in this industry and that we're in, because the world is so vast.
The world is so big, there's so much to see. And I feel like this industry, as much as it's like, it's great and it's developing and it's growing and it's established. I look abroad and I'm like, that's fascinating. And the different abroads are fascinating. Like London is not like New York, and New York is not like Nigeria, and Nigeria is not like Korea. And there's this broad world of art that is yet to be explored. And like, why not? And I think film does that. Film allows one to travel, to see the world, to connect with the world. Film is an international babe.
It really does. I think also the beauty about film is like you're able to connect to someone from another country via phone. Was so beautiful. Like I met these I think they were Taiwanese, I think. And I think my understanding, there's a movie that I know from Taiwan. I'm like, yo, that's where I think it was shot. I'm like, yeah. And it's so nice because you're able to engage with someone based off of a movie. And I was just thinking about even that, like how locally, like we don't have a culture.
A culture for film,
Not even like
for cinema.
not even for consuming it, but for creating it. And that's why I mess with the stuff that like the Yellow Bone guys do, because it showcases our culture so well, like South African culture. No, because I think there's something very distinct about the South African.
And the audience, yes.
Connect. The thing is, if I'm exporting this product, what about it says South Africa? And I think that's something also we don't really think about as Yimbi.
We create because we're so busy trying to be like Mang Mang. We don't know who is Ntokozo and who is Hope and who is whoever is listening. We try and look outside, but actually it's inside. I mean, at home, it's in your grandmother's stories. It's your best friend that used to teach you how to dress. That's how you became the fashion designer. It's your grandmother who used to cook that biryani. That's why you have a shop, a restaurant. I think like what you're saying is so true. I love the international and the global space, but I've grown to appreciate the local space, because if we don't appreciate in terms of
Like, what are you consuming? What do you like? Whose work are you messing with right now?
locally, I've been watching a lot of series.
Yeah, like
I recently watched In Your Dreams. It's on Amazon Prime. Jesse, Didintle, and that was so interesting because it was so different. The concept is about like you have this African ancient like statue, and it's connected to this huge ancestor that like something happened in the past, but now there's a ritual that you do, and this ritual allows your dreams to come to life. So whether it be a nightmare or a good dream, you live in that dream, and each episode is like each character like has a dream that they're conquering. And it's so well written, like the story like I really enjoyed that production. And like I look at the different channels, and I feel like some channels only choose films based on like popularity, because I think we have so many incredible films. Like one of my favorite films is London Recruits. But who is seeing the film? So many of the films that we've gotten to watch, that as a curator I've gotten to watch, but the South African audience doesn't get to see it.
yeah, it's a lot. But, hey,
But yeah,
I, I think also another thing is when you're on the outside, it's so easy to, and I think that's what I'm learning to just practice empathy, um, because I know that there are people sitting in those boards or in those meetings really kind of fight for the same thing that we're fighting for on the outside. It's just that structures don't allow them to do so. You know, um, like like um, like I know that there are people who are sitting in like commissioning auditors who are trying to commission good stuff. You know what I mean? But like it's receiving a lot of
Knows.
resistance or whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's I think the structures are they're pretty broad and they're vast, and I think it's like how do we how do you understand it? I don't know. But yeah, I think another thing is that I think we need to give ourselves a bit of grace also, as an industry, because we are in our infancy. 30 years is not a long time. And I think what we've been able to do
In the 30th.
fairly special, And I think that's why it's the best time to be a filmmaker, or it's the best time to be a creative, however daunting, however annoying it might be. But like, it's like we have an opportunity to establish something really great, because there's also something about going into a structure that's already built, because you can't claim that you contributed to those structures.
So we're building.
You understand what I'm saying?
We're building the African.
Yeah, like we are at the forefront of being able to have an impact with the work that we make on the global commerce. And also how do we make looking at how we can make the space profitable, how you know what I mean? We are able to have those kind of conversations, be able to say, okay, cool, filmmakers, like for the arts, you don't have to be broke. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I hate this narrative that artists have to be broke because, like, we are so great and we give and we give and we give, and people take and they take and they take. And you know who they take from the most? Talent. People that are musicians, dancers, actors. And I'm not saying that they don't take away from people that are in the behind the scenes. I know the struggles of behind the scenes as well. But I think if you look at value, we as artists bring so much value, but sometimes it's like the world is just like, oh, that hobby that you're doing.
I mean, I understand that, but I don't really care about how people view it. My point is how we view it and what we're able to make out of it ourselves, because I think it's one thing for people to think that um this industry it doesn't work. There's another thing for us to be like, hey, this industry doesn't work. You know what I mean? So I think there has to be a certain almost a blind optimism about the space that at some point it'll crack, and we will be able to build structure that do enable us to support ourselves and to sustain ourselves guided also. I think it's a very broad conversation. It's a very like layered thing where it's gonna take a bit of time. But I think we're doing as a country, when people ask me how the production industry as a country, we're doing okay. We're doing well in the context of Africa. Like we're doing
We're
well.
doing great, my babe. Can you just give us?
But like, I think against our own potential,
Okay, we could do better. We are great.
that's just a story of a South African in every content. Like even in every industry also. Like I think we are doing great, but against our own
Potential.
potential of what we could actually be doing, if structures enabled for us to do that, like like the public broadcaster, like that is such
Yo.
an important that
It is very important.
so yeah, it's those kinds of things, like getting those basics right, like would really allow us to be able to thrive on an independent level. Like even if I'm not participating in commissioning, if I'm just making on an independent level, how do we make sure that, okay, cool, when people come, if I'm making independently, the system is supported. I'm able to support myself because maybe I have a show that's on the public broadcaster, or I know that the public broadcaster is going to buy us because they buy. that stuff is not happening. That stuff is just not happening. So I think there's a lot of things that we need to look at. But that's why I'm also grateful to be in the space that was also in development, because I'm also able now to be a contributor to the space. That then there's something really special about
Giving.
yeah, like being one of the people who enabled,
Yeah.
to actually the structures to be able to exist in the way that they do. They tend
10 years from now. Okay, Ntokozo, to wrap it up, I want to know, like, what do you look forward to now? Like, you in this phase of rediscovering and figuring it out and, like, have accomplished so much. And what do you dream to now? Where do you go to? Just to close it off.
I'd like to go abroad sometime.
Like, live?
Yeah, sometime. Um, yeah, it's gonna be tricky because of the work that I do here, but that's why I have a team. That's why I have a community. I think if something like this, only because you're around, then yeah, yep.
That's not a great sign of leadership.
So I think, yeah, I really look forward to like um getting next outside of just South Africa, but also um I'm also looking forward to playing in the industry because I don't think I have yet. I don't think I haven't written for any show. I haven't directed for any show, and I'd really like to get into that. But like also, I'm very pedantic about what I want to get into doing. So I like even when I do speak to people about writing, like I know who I'm speaking to, like I know the kind of work that they make or the potential that they have, because I also understand that it's really tough. I think it's we don't get good shows often, you know, and I actually try. I watch the stuff and I'm just like, okay, it's okay, like on an international level, like yeah, we're not competing, but when you actually dig deep and you look a bit deeper, you'll find that we make really dope stuff. For example, like Spinners is probably my favorite.
Yes, that was amazing.
Like from the previous
So creative.
it was and authentic.
And represented the people really well.
Very well. So that's my point about culture and exporting.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Are we showing South Africa?
You get what I'm saying, and not simply as a product that exists on a commercial level, but like as I think what Spinners was able to do, and even for everybody, not just internationally, but for local audiences as well, was to really reposition our thinking around the Cape Flats.
Yes.
And I think there's a beauty in that, and
There was.
why storytelling was so powerful. And I think that's the dope thing that we could be doing with our stories. Like we have so much potential to kind of really form the structures of people's imagination and their mind with the work that we create. And that's why the bioscopes matter so much. It may not do anything right now, but our goal is really just to keep on showing local
Forms.
keep on showing representative film in the local markets, that people can see themselves represented, because like it's such a seeing yourself as, when you see somebody who looks like you doing something,
It hits home. And you kind of like believe it for yourself.
yeah, like for example, I think I mentioned it. I don't know, but like when I was at Locarno, like for me, the programming there, like I could there's so many films to watch. My eye immediately went to pick posters that have black people, because I was like, I want to see this, because I mean, no, see a film from Italy or Serbia, and I mean, if it's great cinema, then great. But I think also that this notion around like how black people,
Are viewed and
yeah, and
captured.
and I think that the stigma around the lack of like ours cinematic expression, the terrible notion, then that's why it's so important for us to really come up and stand up and make these moves, because bro, for me, like the township is so cinematic. Like mine Kaya, like in the village, like in Motu, like that, I just see other things. You know, I'm just like, this is beautiful, you know. And sometimes when I capture that stuff on frame, on like when I capture it on my phone or whatever, you know, and you make able to craft the story with that, you're able to see what it like. It's so beautifully crafted, and you're able to see what it can do for the community. Like, for example, there's a documentary I shot, and the thing is, I think there's a documentary I shot a few years ago, and I showed it recently, and a lot of those people in that documentary have passed in that community,
Oh, like passed away?
passed away, like
Okay.
because of the dangerous community,
Yes.
you know. And like you saw what it did. Like I think one would also exist as archivists. You know?
Yes.
We are
We are storing the history of this world literally through books, music, like phones. We are storing history. Like when you look at an episode of something that you watched when you were 12, or you listen to a song and you remember it, we are storing history. It's in the music, it's in our artistry, that we are archivers and people that, and I feel like even archiving began with storytelling, the whole folk tales and the story being like,
told over. I think that's who we are as African people also. I think, and that's why I think we have so much potential in the cinematic landscape. I think the only problem of the financial capacity
Yeah.
to be able to execute. But I think as storyteller, we are it's in our blood because that's how we've existed for so long, you know? And I think even there, even in that, like I think there exists the beauty in the fact that like what we know about ourselves is through story only. Like, and
I hear what you're saying.
get what I mean? Like, for example, I always used to like feel like, you know, it's so awful that we don't have history written about ourselves because people didn't know how to write. And though, so the history that we have that's written is like obviously by the oppressor, and that's obviously not
Our history.
it's not a popular.
It's not our history.
And there's something about Inganegwane and just the passing of folk tales from generation to generation about who we are as a people. And that's why I kind of feel like just the the Africanness of who we are is such a powerful thing, right? And even with just the understanding of Ubuntu and the structure and what the spirits of it mean, you know, it's so powerful, and I think that those are the kind of things that we need to be exploring in our stories, you know. And yeah, thinking about
Ntokozo,
yeah.
thank you
Shout out.
for this incredible episode. I really loved hearing everything that you had to say, and I think you were dropping the truth. This is like how our phone calls are. So like, I know this is how phone calls are, but thank you. I really appreciate this because I think you are really able to speak about the truth behind what it costs. And I think this is what we are about at Archive. So I'm just grateful that you are a part of this history. You're part of Archive's history.
Do you know, like when you post this, it's gonna be so important. Like what the work that you're doing is so important. You know, because you're storing what you're doing is actually what you're doing. I don't know if I'm making sense, but like you're storing information, and for example, anybody wants to follow my journey. So let's say 10 years from now, and they like watch this, it's gonna do so much. For example, like for me, like I look at my favorite filmmakers locally, or my like filmmakers I like, and I research them and I look at their stuff, and I even go back to the history, and I think that there's something beautiful about seeing someone at a younger stage or just before they crack it, and that's what you're doing here. So I really like commend what you're doing, and yeah, man, I can't wait to see it grow until you have their own network on their own channel.
Period.
Commission our show.
Period. We receive the grace. Amen. Amen. Wow, that was an incredible episode with Ntokozo Mlaba. As you heard, he is amazing, but there's so much knowledge and wisdom that he carries with him, and he's just so willing to give that information. Thank you to everyone that was able to watch. My name is Hope Mareka. We are Art Chive Media House. Thank you.